They are destroying our nation in front of us. What you see is what you get. Is there an Illuminati? Boy, if there is, the un-Illuminati are doing the dirty work for them. I mean, it's so transparent. It's such a failure. You look at these people, you look at their actions and look at their deeds. The Federal Reserve announced, just as we had forecast, another round of tapering. And you're seeing what's going on in all the emerging markets. Everyone should pay attention to this. It's very important. The only reason, as you well know, and everyone else does that listens to your show, the only reason we have any kind of a recovery at all is because all of these tens of trillions of dollars the central banks have been shoving into the marketplace. All this cheap money went over to these emerging markets, and it was a carry trade. So what they did is they got higher interest rates, took money cheaply, put it in another country, got more money for it, and kept playing the deal. The only thing that kept this going, as everyone knows, is the cheap money flow. Now they're tightening it up. The currencies are crashing. Great. China is announcing, as we're seeing from the data coming out, that their economy is actually going down from the data, not that they're announcing it from reading the information. So the economies are going down, and now you're raising interest rates. Brilliant. Turkey's just raised their interest rates, it's over 12%, about 12%. Their economy is crashing. They're in a crisis. India raised their interest rate. South Africa, they're all raising their interest rates to protect their currencies. You don't raise interest rates as you're going into a recession unless you want to create a depression, but they have no choice. So you can see where the future is heading, and it's an ugly one.
I just barely plugged today, and that's how we fund ourselves. Please visit InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Shop with the good guys. Support us. Gerald Celente, he advertises in our magazine. He supports us because he knows it's important. I try to support him. We've all got to hang together or hang separate. Gerald Celente, you've got the floor on trends. I don't want to sit here and ask all the questions. Geopolitical, what's going on in the world? Can we turn it around? I think the biggest issue is, not that I'm some tough guy, but that people have never been in fights. They've never been robbed. They've never seen corruption. They have no street smarts now. We live in such an insulated, TV-based fantasy land that it's infected the ruling class as well. And, people are either super smart and dialed in, or they're totally dumb. And I see an acceleration of that division. Gerald Celente.
Well, I'd like to also, just follow up on what you were talking about and how could it change. I've been on virtually every TV show in the country, Oprah, the Today Show, Good Morning America, you name it. And I've been to your studios. And your studios are far above most of them. And I know the dedication that you have. So when you ask people, what can you do to help change? There's no show like yours. There's your website, the information, the people you have, your staff that is so dedicated, and the stories that they write every day. It's one of my first go-to websites. And I travel the world on websites, from China Daily to Fars to Al Jazeera to Haaretz, But Alex Jones' website, Prison Planet, has information that's written in ways and presented that virtually nobody else does. So people do have to understand the dedication that you and your staff have to help change us and put us in, as the word that you keep using, is in a more moral direction. And I'm the last guy to say, that I played it straight all the time and been the perfect guy. You try to advance yourself as you learn more and try to be better at what you're doing, in terms of, it's about self-respect. I don't want to pass out of this planet with having, any dark blemishes that I've done intentionally. So I really urge everyone to do what they can to keep promoting what you're doing, because you're one of the few voices out there, and you have the chutzpah and the cojones to say it the way it is.
Well, you too, my brother. I mean, I was just doing mid-air refueling to fund our operation. I just wanted to, go back to the public and explain to them this is high quality, but also they can build whatever they want by supporting it. And that's what you've always hammered on for 30 years as a consultant, lobbyist, the biggest corporations, to the public, you name it, is we literally build the world by our choices. That's why folks have got to become subscribers of the Trends Journal. That's why they've got to support drudgereport.com, WorldNet Daily, anything that's independent, anything that has a moral compass, anything that isn't totally obsessed with evil.
I've made this very clear before. You're seeing the manufacturing index coming out of China. It's down. You're seeing slowdowns. Oh, by the way, durable good orders came out yesterday in the U.S., and they were way off. Figure it out. Of course, by unexpectedly down in December. Well, you look at the new employment numbers in December, there were only 74,000.
So what's the bottom line? They're going to start turning down the QE. How much you think they're going to do it? What's going to happen in the next year, Gerald Celente?
Here's my forecast. You're looking at the markets already. As we're talking, they're fluctuating between almost 200 down to 120 down. The markets, Europe took a hit. They're all taking a hit. They have to flood the markets with money. They're not going to do it for a while. And you're going to see the equity markets continue to decline. Interest rates go up. The economy goes down. They're going to come out with a new scam by, I believe, by the end of the second quarter of this year. They're not going to call it quantitative easing. They're not going to call it stimulus. Now with Ben Bernanke out of there, maybe they'll call it Yellenomics or something for the new person, the front for the bankers. They're going to come out with another round of stimulus. They have to do it. They're going to do it in Europe. They're going to do it in China. And when they do it, you're going to see gold prices skyrocket. We believe that when they announce the next round of stimulus, which they're going to have to do, when you're looking at the numbers only, that's when you're going to see gold prices skyrocket. Our forecast is the downside of gold is only between 100 and 150. That's not a lot, because it's going to cost you $1,200 just to pull this stuff out of the market. And by the way, when you look at the Goldman Sachs gang, and they're the ones that keep driving down the price of gold, coming out with their announcements of how low it's going to be, and you look at their track record over the last 3 years, they have been off on virtually every one of them, but they're manipulating the market, as Dr. Paul Craig Roberts keeps showing everyone how they're doing it. And if you don't think they're manipulating the markets, guess what? They manipulated the LIBOR markets. That sets interest rates at the tune of some $700 trillion.
Well, it's on record. They're manipulating all the markets. It's all rigged.
It's a fact. They're manipulating the Forex markets. Those are the currency markets. It's a fact. So the fact is that when gold prices go up, they're going to try to drive them down. But here's what's different. I bought my first buy of gold at $187.50 an ounce back in the late 70s. I also bought it at the highest point of the trading day, the day it collapsed, at $875. It closed at $850. The next day it went down $50. Here's what's different. Back then, you didn't have physical demand that's skyrocketing throughout Asia and the rest of the world, even in the United States. The mints are running 24 hours a day in Austria. They can't keep up with demand for physical metal. That didn't happen in 1980. I was there. Back in 1980, China wasn't buying like they are now. Now the largest buyer of physical metals. China was just getting off the Mao trip. They had no GDP. India, no, they weren't buying much either. Russia, how much is Russia buying now? Back then, everything east of Berlin was locked in.
No, absolutely. They can only suppress it so long. That's why I've never sold an ounce of gold or silver I've bought, and I'm totally confident.